Want to grow your own fresh vegetables at home? Like, share, and subscribe to Grow Your Own Vegetables for simple gardening tips.
Hey everyone, Stacey Murphy here, and I have taught thousands of people all over the world how to get the most out of their garden. That means maximizing your harvest while conserving your precious time, energy, and resources. And one of the things I hear all the time is that it seems like there's extra space in your garden and you want to know what to plant, or you're trying to figure out how to time your spring, summer, and fall crops to take full advantage of all of your space. When you have a small growing space, you have to take advantage of every little nook and cranny in your garden, right? And you may be shocked how much food you can grow in just a handful of space. That's what this video is all about. First, let's explore the question, what does wasted space in your garden cost you? Well, what happens in your planting bed when there's extra space? Weeds. Weeds typically happen when you have open space in your garden because you always have weed seeds in your soil. It's just a matter if you give them space to grow or not. Weeds are very opportunistic. So if I'm a weed seed and I can sprout and see the sun and there's space for me to grow, I'm definitely going to take that space. So what does this mean for you? It means that weeds are assigned to grow more food. That's what they're here to tell us. Yes, some of those weeds are also delicious and edible, but really, if there's space for weeds, that means there's space to grow more food. And wouldn't you rather spend your time growing more food than tending those weeds? All right, so besides spending more time weeding, let's start quantifying what wasted space costs you. And let's start small. What could you grow in 6 inches of space? Let's look at a 6-inch diameter circle. And for those of you on the metric system, open up your hand, envision a circle that would touch the tip of your thumb and the tip of your pinky finger. How much food could grow in that 6-inch space? Now, these numbers are going to vary depending on the number of growing days in your season, but assuming you have 150 days in your growing season, which is about 5 months, you could grow 1 pound of carrots in that 6-inch space. You could grow 3 pounds of celery, 6 pounds of leeks, or 3 pounds of chard. And you have other options depending on what your favorite vegetables are. Your yields are obviously going to vary based on a lot of factors, but these are numbers that beginners could strive for, and these are pretty easy crops to grow, with the exception that carrots are a little tricky to germinate sometimes. So now let me ask you a question. How many 6-inch spaces are available in your planting beds? Where can you see 6 inches of soil? And then go bigger yet. If you were to add up all those spaces, how much space is available in your garden? Can you guess how many pounds of food you're not growing with that space? In other words, how much more food could you grow if you were to fill all those spaces? Do you think it's possible to double or even triple your harvests? So the first thing to do is to map out your garden and identify those gaps. And an exercise that a lot of gardeners use is to draw circles that represent the size of each crop and then lay those circles out in the beds to fill up all the space. And if there's any gaps, you can fill them with these smaller crops that we've been talking about fitting into 6-inch spaces. Now, a lot of people might call this a garden map, and a garden map is a good place to start because you can lay out all of your crops and see where the gaps are. But if you try this, you're going to quickly notice two major drawbacks to using just this one tool to plan your garden for the season. And the first drawback is that circles represent the crop at full maturity. So I put down a 12-inch or an 18-inch circle on the drawing for my tomatoes, depending on which variety I'm planting. But when that tomato is still a teenager and it's small, there's lots of other soil space all around that plant that could be filled with other food. And also when the tomato is older and the roots are growing deeper, and if I've pruned it well, there's space underneath that tomato plant to grow basil, parsley, carrots, etc. So that's the first major drawback to a garden map, is that there's more space than you realize around that plant in its lifetime. So the second major drawback to using just a garden map to plan your season, well, let me tell you a little story. I plant my spring garden, I pack in all those plants, I use up all the space. Then about 28 days later, my radishes are ready to harvest. I pull them out. and then my lettuce heads and my spinach are ready and I pull those out. Then it gets hot and my peas are done, so I pull them out, etc., etc. And all of your vegetable plants mature at different rates. They're ready to harvest at different times, and this is a great thing because that means you always have something new to eat, right? But this makes it challenging to have a clean slate to plant the next round of crops, and it's hard to continue to draw those garden maps for each day of the season. So look at all the open space that opens up at different times throughout the season. So it's not just about how much can you grow in 6 inches of space that you may be wasting between crops, but how much space do you have available throughout the whole season as that space opens up? And how do you time your crops so you're always harvesting something new and no space remains open for more than a couple days? So while a garden map idea is helpful, it's not the whole story. And you would drive yourself crazy if you try to draw the whole season out this way. You're going to find yourself needing a better tool. And luckily there is a better tool that helps you visualize the whole growing season. Doesn't matter whether you're a gardener or a farmer, people call it a crop plan. And a crop plan will maximize your space for the entire growing season, not just one singular planting. So a crop plan is able to map time and space simultaneously. Now, I know a crop plan, it can sound a little technical, it can sound a little scary. After all, a crop plan is typically a more boring looking spreadsheet, but don't let it fool you. It is a super cool tool and very powerful. Now, just one of the things it does is map time and space for each crop. So each row of a crop plan represents a crop being planted. There's a visual calendar that shows when exactly it will be planted, when exactly it will be harvested. So then you can see exactly when there's space for something else to grow. Now, it takes an afternoon or a day to complete your crop plan, depending on how big your garden space is. Once it's complete, you can put all those dates on your calendar and you can list everything you will seed, transplant, and harvest each week. Now, at this point, I totally automate my planting calendar. I create alarms each week that say, today you will transplant the beets, harvest the arugula, radish, and chard, etc. So during the growing season, I don't even have to think about what I need to do. I just let the reminders tell me what to go out and do in my garden. And now I've got a roadmap for the whole season. It's all planned out. I just do what's on the checklist each week. So this is how you maximize yield by filling all those gaps in your planting beds. And this is how you reduce your efforts in the garden each week by translating your crop plan into a weekly checklist. So you're going to focus on the activities that are growing food, seeding, transplanting, and harvesting. And the best part is you really only have to do this once if you create a great plan. You can do the exact same thing next year. You simply rotate the plan so you're growing each plant in a new place next year, and you reuse the plan and the calendar you already created. You don't have to start from scratch every year. You just create a robust and awesome crop plan and reuse it. That alone saves me so much effort each and every year. Think of what else you could do with all that time. Maybe make some sauerkraut, right? With all that cabbage you're going to be growing. So a crop plan is kind of like having autopilot for your garden or a GPS system. It tells you exactly what to do. And because you do the same thing each year, it takes less and less time as you get used to the plan.
If you want a shortcut creating your plan, simply grab my video training below. It includes my done-for-you templates so you can try my crop plan on for size. And I've taught hundreds of people all around the world how to take these templates and adapt them to their specific growing conditions. So this can work for you wherever you are. And as part of this offer, I'm taking the template and I'm starting from scratch and I'm going to adapt it to a new location. So you can watch over my shoulder as I share my screen so you can see exactly what to do step by step. And my templates are modular. They're for 100 square feet or 10 square meters if you're on the metric scale. And you can just scale them depending on how big your space is. So click the button for immediate access to this video training and all my templates. And I look forward to seeing all the things that you're going to grow this year, your most abundant harvest yet.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And for more simple and practical gardening tips, subscribe to Grow Your Own Vegetables. For more tips and updates, visit gyov.org and join our growing community.